Here we go again. G'day and welcome to the latest edition of Rugby League Insider. We do it all thanks to the very good people at FanaticsTV podcast. If you want to listen in via that, Spotify, Apple Music, all good retail outlets. Now, along for the ride today, look, he's been doing burpees and push-ups, getting very excited about Brookvale Oval tomorrow night. Matty Vautin, how are we, Cobber?
James Hooper, I'm well. I'm excited. I'm going to the game. Managed to rustle a couple of tickets, so I'm pumped.
What are we thinking? How are you seeing this game unfold?
Roosters win. I think they need to get their season back on track. Manly, look, hopefully they can put up a bit of a fight, but Roosters for mine.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you. And flying off the top turnbuckle as always, Savage by name and Savage by nature. Brandon, how are we, Cobber?
I'm going very well. A lot of comments in the YouTube's comments about you saying YouTube's.
Oh, yeah, really? What's
it's just funny the way
they
you
don't like it? Or?
Nah, they love it.
It's affectatious. It's a colloquialism. I
That's
like it.
That's good. Yeah, we like colloquialisms.
Yeah.
So they're for it.
They're for it. They're making fun of you
It's
a
the
bit.
YouTubes. It's a new space.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot to do with the YouTubes previously, but I'm quickly wrapping my head around it. The same with this podcast game. I had zero idea about any of it, but anyhow,
You picked it up. You're doing all right with
we're
it.
making a fist of
Yeah, I
it,
think so.
we're boxing on.
The YouTubes is good. You said a couple of weeks ago that Wednesday's your favorite gym day. How'd you go this morning at the gym?
Enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Trainer at the end of it. I do classes at Monavale, a joint called Rumble Boxing. And you do 5 rounds on the bag and then 5 rounds on a bit of a bench with a variety of different dumbbells and exercises and whatnot. It's just a good smash up, hit out. And the trainer always says, that's hump day out of the way at the end of the session. So I enjoyed it. Did you train this morning, mate?
I did back and biceps.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
look out. No wonder you busted out of that shirt over there. Thank God. I thought it was the Broncos CEO, Dave Donaghy. You got that many buttons undone. Fair dinkum, doesn't he? Like a button undone. It was like he was straight out of an MJ Bale catalogue or something. Anyway, good luck to Dave. Tell you what, he talked a lot yesterday, Dave. He talked underwater with a mouthful of marbles.
Yep.
Not sure he actually said anything.
No, a lot of in circles stuff. But it was all very, very interesting, wasn't it, James?
Life's not always a straight line. I can tell you a lot about that, Matty. No, I tell you what, corporate gobbledygook, most of it. But anyhow, that brings us to our number one topic for the day. And look, it's still simmering at Red Hill. Ben Teo has officially quit as one of Michael Maguire's assistant coaches. He was in charge of their defence. Now, I want to clarify something straight off the top, boys. It's been pushed in the papers heavily that the fact that Madge and Donaghy wouldn't let Ben Teo be one of Billy Slater's assistant coaches for Queensland this year was a big factor. I can hose that. Get the gurney out, put it all over it, give it a good spray because that's not true. My understanding is that Madge and Ben Teo haven't been seeing eye to eye, had been butting heads primarily over defensive tactics for the Broncos as a team. That's been going on for a number of months. And then there's also history all the way back to South Sydney when Ben pulled the ripcord there along with Sammy Burgess, and they both took off and ended up playing rugby union over in England. So, Matty, how are you seeing this whole shit fight at Red Hill?
Yeah, usually when an assistant coach goes or whatever, it doesn't make the back page of the news. Not a big deal. But on this occasion, I feel like...
There's that fly again
that
from
fly
yesterday. Can we get this joint locked up of an evening or something?
Yeah.
Shut the windows, fair dinkum. Hyde Park House,
some
the pub, far out. There's not even any schooners on the bar. Anyway, sorry, Matty.
You're all right. No, so usually I wouldn't see an assistant coach as a big deal going. Not a big deal. But as he is the defensive coach and as it's happened in the fashion that it has happened, I feel like it now undermines Madge a little bit. I feel like you're right. You're keeping it together.
That fucking fly. It's buzzing. You're making good points.
I'm struggling to get all this out. And there's a fly just
landed on your
up my
eyebrow.
nose. Yep.
Play on.
So, yeah, I feel like now there's no conduit between player and head coach. I worry that it now undermines the head coach a lot. Now, as the assistant coach has basically given the up yours, I'm out of here. How does a player go getting a spray from Madge now? You know, Madge is giving a massive spray to a player, and a player can kind of look at it and go, well, you know what, the assistant coach didn't really respect what you were saying or didn't agree with what you're saying. Why should I? Now I don't even have the good cop, which would be the assistant coach, on my side. You know, I feel like they might lose a little respect. There might be a bit of dissent in the dressing sheds now. So that that's a concern for me.
All very valid and strong points. And further to that, I know last year there was a period where the Broncos lost 7 games in a row, and it culminated in where you'll be tomorrow night, Brookvale Oval, and they were horrible against Manly that day. Manly put a score on them, and they just looked completely inept, disinterested, not connected at all as a group of players. And off the back of that, Ben Teo and a couple of the other assistant coaches, I would say Trent Barrett was probably involved, Matt Ballon as well. They were reading the room and they were like, holy shit, the air's really come out of the balloon here for us as a team and as a group. How are we going to try and galvanise and all get back on the same page? And so they come up with an idea, and this is so not Madge, right? This is not Madge at all. They come up with an idea that let's all go to the Stain and have a few beers. Now, it's a time-honoured tradition in rugby league, believe it or not. It happens at all clubs, and it's been going on since 1908. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I can give you several examples of where it has worked. I'm a big fan of it. I'm not having a beer now, don't worry. But I think that there is a lot to be said for it. So Teo was one of a number of people in the Broncos group who led this push. Boys, let's all go to the Stain. Let's have a few beers. Let's just take the heat out of things a little bit, try and thrash it all out, and then we move forward. And it worked. Like, look, it took a little while for the Broncos to then really start to gain momentum. But I know then when they did win the competition and they went on that phenomenal run throughout the final series, the players actually then even threw up the idea of going back to the Stain with the trophy to say thank you to the Stain because of what the joint had done for them. Like, that's how important they thought that moment in time was. Now, Ben Teo was definitely a part of that, of saying, listen, that's not a Madge idea. As much as I like Madge, I'm a Madge supporter. Madge is a damn good coach. His CV says it all. That's not a Madge go. Madge got stung trying to do that with Souths many years ago when he took them to Rusty's farm up at Nana Glen, and Luke Keary ended up pissing off after
getting chased by a quad bike.
Rusty went a little bit AWOL on the quad bike. So
it's such a simplistic thing, just going for a beer. You know, you don't need a coach whisperer or a player whisperer. You don't need to spend all this money on psychologists. Just go for a beer, guys. Let's air our grievances. Let's have a bit of fun. And it obviously turned their season around.
100% it did. And look, I've got to be a bit careful here because at times I've had a few too many beers and made some fucking stupid decisions
moderation
over the years. So in moderation is a good idea. To that point, you know, I remember a number of Canterbury players often reference back in 1995, Chris Anderson was the coach, and they had been ripped apart because of the Super League war, and 4 of their best players, Jared McCracken, Jimmy Dimmick, Dean Pay and Jason Smith, had signed to play for Parramatta, right? And Canterbury were going to the Super League. And it really drove a wedge in the club. It totally divided the joint. Anyway, Chris Anderson, good old school coach, premiership winning coach, knew how to try and get things back on track. So he just went after, like, I don't know how many losses they'd had, but they were going horrible, right? Didn't look a snowflake's chance in hell of winning the comp. So Opie goes, righto, boys, we're going to the St. George Tavern or whatever the pub is up the end of Belmore Road there. I'm going to get the owner to lock the doors. We're thrashing it all out, leaving it all on the table. And when we leave, we're getting our season back on track and we'll be ready to rumble. Well, bugger me, they won the comp. They beat Manly. I know, probably a bit sore for you. They beat Manly in the GF, right? And Manly had hardly lost a game all season. Bozo was the coach. They had this phenomenal side at the time, and it was one of the great upsets. They went similar to the Broncos last year. They went on this incredible finals run. Brandon, your take. I know you like a Zupa Duper. What's the Zupa Duper up at Magic Round?
The frozen
Slushy.
cocktails,
Yeah.
frozen slushy cocktails, fruit tingles.
Fruit Tingles.
Yep, that's
yeah.
it.
Are you a fan of the Fruit Tingle?
Fruit tingle mingle.
Fruit Tingle routine
between the teams. Yeah, I like
Fruit
it.
Tingle mingle.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because they went on a harbour cruise as well, didn't they?
Yeah, but they were allowed to get on the piss on that.
Oh,
That was a
really?
big no-no. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that
that was a Madge one. So Madge got some, and forgive me, he got an Olympic gold medal winning sailor whose name is eluding me. Might have been Tom Slingsby or something like that. He got him on as a motivational speaker.
Yep.
But the rule was no one was allowed to touch a beer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that's where they messed up and they decided, okay, now we need to actually go for a beer. I'm all for it. I feel like teams, it's how you create cohesion between people who you don't really know, I guess.
Yeah.
So it creates a kind of a bond in between the team and in between player and coach. If the coaches were getting in on it as well, they can be raw and honest with each other when they've had a couple of drinks, let the hair down. So I'm all for it. I think Shibasaki went too long with the party and he kicked on for the rest of the season and potentially into this season. But I think
He had a lot to celebrate, in fairness. He had a bloody good year last year.
He had a great year. And I'm not saying he kept partying, that's why he's dropped. But I think the Broncos, that's probably what they need right now, to be honest. Just another get-together.
Well, not before the Dolphins game. They got to play Battle of Brisbane Friday night, right?
Yeah.
But if they win on Friday night, I don't think it's necessarily the worst idea at all.
No.
And Madge needs to be involved too.
Yes.
Like those scenes after the grand final with Madge and Reese with the little
toilet
makeshift
water,
Brascos and they're drinking out of the Brasco together and Plummer out and all
Yeah.
that stuff. That's fucking gold.
Yeah.
It is so good for bringing people together. And not everyone will agree with it. There'll be a lot of people trying to shoot holes in it, but that's rugby league. It's been part of the game since 1908.
And you can tell the players at that point in time was kind of like, hang on a minute, we bought in and we won. Like you could tell that was their demeanor when they won the competition. So I think they've got to get back to that and realize what they're doing it for, what their purpose is. And I'm all for it. They won 13 of 15 after that performance at Manly. So
Is that right?
yeah, they lost
Mate,
two
that's
games.
why you're the best in the business. You've already crunched the numbers. Do
One of them was against Melbourne.
you reckon Middo's in trouble at all at Channel 9
Yeah, I
with
reckon he
your
is.
ability with numbers and everything?
Oh, hell no.
You
Hell
know-
no.
You're talking yourself down. I
like
think
your
he's-
honesty too.
Matty?
Do you think that this Ben Teo thing does actually have legs to derail their season? I mean, they're missing their good cop now. The players from player to head coach, they don't have that conduit. Do you think there is a bit of merit in maybe this is a bit of trouble?
Bloody good point. As much as I went off orienteering with my stay in hotel story, Ben Teo was a very good conduit with the playing group, right? Because he's only recently retired. I'm pretty sure he's still in his 30s. He played with some of the blokes who are still playing at the Broncos, your Ben Hunts, some of those guys. He would have been around when they were in Maroon's camp and those sorts of things. So he's still very relatable from a player's point of view. And where that can be advantageous is if Madge is driving everyone mad with the size 15 up the Bulleye Pass every day, right? The blokes can catch up with Ben, go for a coffee, go for a feed, whatever it is. And they're probably more inclined to tell him more than what they're going to let on with Madge. That's invaluable inside the walls of a footy club.
Yeah.
So will it drive a wedge? I still think the Broncos are going to be okay. I think their roster is too talented. And Madge knows what winning looks like. He's still got good assistants around him in Trent Barrett and Matt Ballin. Baz is doing the attack. Matt Ballin's running the defence now that Teo's gone. I think they'll be okay, but I know, Brandon, you see it through a little bit of a different lens, or?
Well, I actually thought they would be okay until you started bringing up, I don't want to say the word conduit again, but it's been said 3 times.
Let's say the
on this-
go-betweens.
The go-betweens.
I wonder why you were laughing at that.
I was laughing at that because I've heard other people say it, and now we've said it 3 times.
I'll tell you
as
what,
well.
mate, laughed last night. Somebody mentioned cushion. Somebody was a cushion between.
cushion.
I was going, what?
Okay.
You can refer to rugby league players a lot of things. I wouldn't refer to them as cushions.
No, but look back to the Daly Cherry Evans drama last year. He probably was that player to coach voice in that side. And the minute he checked out, that their season just went to shit. And that was from round 2. I know that he was probably off the coach before that.
Nah, I don't. On that, and we'll go off orienteering into Brookvale for a minute here. I don't think Cherry actually has that bit of bigger beef with Seabold.
No.
As much as there was a lot made that Cherry didn't invite Seabold to his wedding and all that, I actually don't think that there's that much in that, right? Where Cherry always had to sort of walk a bit of a tightrope at Manly was he pissed off a lot of the old boys when he was a kid coming through.
Yeah.
Your Chock Watmos, your Glenn Stewarts, certainly Brett Stewart at various stages. I think they kind of half-pie pretended to maybe smoke a bit of a peace pipe. In reality, I don't think that really ever existed. How do you see it, Matty? You're pretty in the loop up there.
I think there's always going to be a bit of a rift between those older guys and the Daly Cherry Evans.
Well, Chock and Gifty had to leave the club, right?
Yeah.
Because of Cherry's 10-year backflip on the Gold Coast, all that sort of shit. So, but to your point about whether what happened at Manly could happen at Brisbane, I don't see it happening this season because I think their roster's too talented, and I think they still have the coaching staff is strong, right? They're still going to be okay. It's an unwanted spot fire and distraction, and it drags them through another round of negative headlines. Payne Haas departure is a problem. This is equally. It's not as big as Payne Haas. Payne Haas is the best player in the world. And for the best, well, certainly the best front rower in the world. You should never have lost Brisbane. And this isn't just on Madge either. Like Dave Donaghy got out yesterday in front of the cameras with the button undone or the buttons undone and talked in riddles and hardly told us anything. But Payne Haas, whether they like it or not, should never have left the Brisbane Broncos. He should have always been a one-club player, a Glenn Lazarus type, or sorry, I'll take that back because Lazo had about 6 clubs and won comps at most of them. A Shane Webke type who you just build the joint around for the entire decade. Nobody should ever have been able to sneak under their guard and poach Payne Haas and them to be blindsided by it. So that says, as much as the Broncos think that they're flying and they won the premiership and they deserved it last season, but they can't deny there are a number of spot fires burning at the moment. I still think they'll be all right, Brandon, but you have a different take.
Yeah, I think you make valid points. I think they'll be okay. But given how strong the competition is this year, everybody has gotten better, whereas a lot of things around them have fallen apart. So I don't know if they have what it takes to go to that level once again, considering all these other teams are so hungry for premierships and have their own reasons. I just think there's too much against their favour for them to be the out-and-out winner. I think they can go deep into the finals, that's for sure, but back-to-back is really under threat at the moment.
Well, what about for you, Matty?
Just on their immediate future, the game they played on Friday night against the Storm, that would have taken so much out of them. The way they defended for 80 minutes, I mean, okay, they had a couple of mix-ups in the first half, but especially that second half, they were defending set on their own goal line for a long time. They can't do that every week. And I understand Melbourne are the best in the business next to Penrith, but they can't do that every week.
That could be, who's that? Is
Brent
that Madge and
Brent
Dave
Reid.
Donaghy? No, Brent Reid.
Brent Reid.
They can't do it every week.
They can't do that every week. So,
but you know what though?
They did it every week at the end of last year.
Jeez, they did it last
but
year.
It's
and
round,
they're super fit.
It's round 3.
To show the fitness that they showed to come back from a 14-0 deficit and win that grand final rematch Friday night, Melbourne and Penrith are traditionally the fittest teams in the comp. Since Madge's got there, the Broncos have gone past them. I heard out of last year's grand final that the Melbourne players said in the aftermath of it, holy fuck, we ain't the fittest team in the comp anymore. No. They're now and that's Madge. So you got to give him kudos and plaudits. As much as it's a very tough regime, it produces results.
And that being said as well, at the start of the season, it's not where you read these teams. If you're the fittest team at the end of the season, it takes a while to build into. So what we're seeing now is not going to be the last final product that we see towards the back end of the season.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. The other thing I want to squash, the other bullshit narrative that come out of the Broncos yesterday, and no one will go on the record about it, although Dave Donaghy with the buttons undone did kind of allude to it in his 20-minute sermon about nothing. This suggestion that Ben Teo is somehow struggling with mental health. What a load of fucking bullshit, right? Firstly, that's an insult to people who are genuinely struggling with mental health, and there's millions of them out there. So it's a very dangerous game to try and go down that road. I know the Broncos did offer Ben Teo a counsellor if he needed to seek counselling or needed to see a counsellor. I don't think that was received overly well, and Ben Teo doesn't need to go and see a counsellor. He's made a decision based on the fact that he stands on his own 2 feet. He's a man. He disagreed about a number of things about the way the Broncos were doing business in terms of the way that they are playing on the field and what his job as the defensive coach was. And so he's chosen to walk. But don't insult a lot of people, right? Don't play us for mugs, basically.
Maybe as a couples counsellor with Madge.
Couples counselling, yeah, that's not bad.
That would have been all right.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Well,
we
they
had
needed
wife
it.
swap yesterday. Darcy's brought up wife swap, which I'd never heard of. We're going to get to that later.
Yeah.
And now we've got couples counselling. No.
Yeah, so, I mean, Ben Teo could come out and he could just say that's total rubbish or whatever. But
I reckon he will, Matty.
Yeah.
I reckon he will. I don't see Ben, he's going to need work and he already works for Triple M up in Brisbane as it is. He calls games. He's a regular panellist on shows. I'd love to get him on here. If he's listening and he wants to come and have a yarn, I'd love to hear his side of what the hell went down.
Dave Donaghy alluding to this mental health thing is also not... I don't know if Dave Donaghy was asked the question, so it's hard to comment on, but if Dave Donaghy has kind of come out and said, oh, you know, we're looking after him and it could be a mental health issue, blah, 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 I don't think that's his place to actually expose that to everyone as well. I don't know if Ben Teo would want that out there, even if it was true. I think he's missed the mark on that.
Well, like he told us, life's not always a straight line. I can definitely clarify that.
Yeah.
But what I am tipping will be a straight line is Ben Teo's very quick re-entry into the coaching ranks. I think he's a member of Billy Slater's coaching staff this year. Like I said off the top, though, I don't think that is actually part of why he's walked away from Brisbane at this point. And I think all roads lead to Heffron Park and to South Sydney, where he won a premiership in 2014, ironically under Michael Maguire. Teo's worked under Wayne Bennett previously. I think he really enjoyed his time under Wayne, because Wayne isn't one of those micromanagers who's constantly trying to pick apart and have eyes over everything that you're doing. He lets you learn by making mistakes. And Ben experienced that firsthand. I told you that.
Yeah, the story yesterday. I was just about to bring it up.
Which was very funny and bang on. And that's the best insight that you can get. This fly's giving me the shits. That's the best insight that you can get about the way that Wayne likes to coach.
Yeah, I think alternatively, I feel like I'm pitching for the Titans a lot. I feel like I sit here as the pitch man for the Titans. But apparently the Titans did offer him a role. I think Josh Hannay offered him a role at the start of the year or maybe last year. So if he didn't want to pick up his whole family and move away from Brisbane, I think the option is there to cruise down to the Titans. And I think he'd fit in. I think him and Josh Hannay would do a good job of learning together. I think he'd be a great pickup for a team that needs a defensive coach.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I see him more at a club where there's a clear plan for him to become a head coach, and I feel like the Rabbitohs will be perfect for that. I'm not sure what Wayne's plans are long term, but whether he steps away from that, probably won't do PNG, but I'm sure that he's all for going to another club to have another challenge. He's a real go-getter, Wayne.
Yeah.
He's the best.
I was going to ask actually. Ben Teo, he's obviously done his time as a player. He's done his time as a head coach in the Q Cup. He's done his apprenticeship as an assistant coach. Is he ready for a head coach in the NRL?
He certainly wants to be a head coach.
I just say it because
you've got to be careful when you say head coach. I've got myself tangled myself in knots a few times when you're trying to allude about that job and that role and head coaching. And I've seen a few people stumble across it live on a couple of very funny forums too.
Okay.
Anyway, you handled it perfectly. Look, I think absolutely Ben Teo does have aspirations of becoming a head coach.
Yeah.
I think he probably thinks that he's all but ready now. But look, not that many jobs come up.
There might be a couple this year. That's all I'm saying.
There will be a couple this year, no question. But I think there's probably people, certainly Willie Peters for me, has got more runs on the board at this point in time than what Ben does. But I would encourage clubs, if they are going down that road, and I know that they're all tuning in to our new award-winning podcast, I don't reckon I'd be going back to coaches who've had a crack before and haven't been able to cut it, like your Brad Arthurs, like your Jason Demetrius. I think it's a young man's game now. This isn't a criticism of those two blokes. It's just stating it how I see it, right? BA had a long time at Parramatta, got him close, couldn't quite get him over the line. He's had success over with Leeds in the Super League. I got no doubt that he could still... I just don't know whether he can win a competition. So clubs that have got aspirations to do that, he can build you a club. He can get you. He can get you from ground zero to being in the 8 consistently. I just don't know. And it's similar with Demetriou.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's a young man's game now. So I think your next generation of Willie Peters, Ben Teo, Ben Hornby, Trent Barrett, those sort of blokes who have been around dressing rooms, know what winning looks like, have had success as players. I think they're a better fit in the modern game for mine.
With Ben Teo, I think he's more suited to a club that he has affiliations with in the past, because obviously he wears his heart on his sleeve. I don't see him going to a club that he just has no affiliations with, like the Manly Sea Eagles or something like that. Like he needs to work for a Queensland club or the Rabbitohs. I feel like he's got limited options, wears his heart on his sleeve, and I think he really needs to be passionate about the place from what I can read. So that's my thoughts.
That's fair, Brandon. Righto, we're going to draw a line under the Red Hill Rocket that took off yesterday, and we need a winner. We need a winner for the Battle of Brisbane.
I think the Sharks played the Dolphins into form. I like the Dolphins.
I was like, where are you going with this?
No. I like the Dolphins. I think they have too many points for the Broncos this time. I think they'd be the underdogs, wouldn't they? They'd be the outsiders.
Haven't had a look at the market yet, but we will. I'll tell you what, though, some big ins for the Dolphins. So Flegler comes back. Molo's back from suspension.
Max Plath is back for his second game of the
He's
year.
a great player.
He's awesome.
And Kurt Donahue as well. So I like the Dolphins are flying under the radar. Yeah. The Dolphins, they're a big chance for the 8.
The Broncos are at $1.64 and the Dolphins are $2.26. I'm going the Dolphins 1-12. Dolphins lost their first, I think, 3 or 4 games last year, and then they went on that run. So I obviously see a similar pattern happening this year.
Yeah, they started the run earlier.
Yeah. So Dolphins 1-12.
I'm liking the fact that you blokes are looking to speculate to accumulate. You're not just straight on the odds-on favourite. You've seen the value there in the Dolphins. I'm going to go the other way. I think it'll be really close. I think there'll be plenty of points scored. But I think all this shit fight that's going on at Red Hill at the moment, I think it galvanises the Broncos as a playing group. I think they're becoming pretty accustomed to having to wake up and wade through the latest stink. And I think they can get the cash. So we'll wait and see what unfolds. Now, speaking of stinks, the book of feuds. The Bunnies and the Roosters, the oldest arch rivals in rugby league, all the way back to 1908. The shiny new stadium gets built at Moore Park, Allianz Stadium. All of us and all of you pay for it with $800 million worth of taxpayers' cabbage. And the Roosters, bang, smack up this home of the Sydney Roosters sign all over it. They got the Nick Politis Centre of Excellence there. It is their training base. Tell you what, the Nick Politis Centre of Excellence, when you go for a walk through, it is off its head.
Really?
It is so impressive. Yep. I was lucky enough, Robbo took me through there one day a couple of years ago, and it's just state of the art. The training from the I've got to get this right. What's the the dojo?
Huh?
The octagon.
Well, they haven't got an octagon, but from the wrestle room,
Right.
from the wrestle room to the state-of-the-art gymnasium, to all the other facilities, you are literally looking straight out onto Allianz Stadium the entire time, wherever part of the centre of excellence you're cruising through.
Was that paid for by the taxpayer, or was that part of the Roosters?
No, the Roosters, the taxpayer paid for the stadium, but then the Roosters lobbied the stadium and venues New South Wales, so the government basically, to be able to build that facility there. There's a very cool gold, I think they call it a bust. Is that what you call? So it's like a gold statue of Nick's head. Yeah, it's different gravy, I know. So it's just his head.
Okay.
It's very Godfather-esque,
Yeah, a
I
little
must
bit.
say. It's very Marlon Brando out of The Godfather. And it's gold as you walk in, and there it is, Nick Pilatus, OAM Centre of Excellence. It's very impressive. I heard when they made it that initially the statue had a little bit of a, I'll say, wry smile, but I think the artist or whoever was designing it got told, listen, just tone that down a little bit here. We're playing for premierships. We're all business.
It's all
just
serious.
make sure Uncle Nick looks extremely sharp. Have you ever seen that? Is it called a bust, firstly? Do you know?
I have no idea what you're talking
Shit,
about.
I haven't just made that up. I don't think I have just pulled that out of the bull. I think that is.
better.
I think that is.
Nick
yeah, I'm sure.
Pilatus' bust. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I think when you. Far out. I'll tell you what, we can orienteer down some funny streets on this podcast, Rort. I think when you design a statue of someone's lemon spread,
A bust.
There you go.
I think that is the technical technology terminology that you reference it by. What are you laughing at? Oh, you've got a picture of it.
Just what it is. Like,
Okay.
It's very
There it
good.
is.
It is very
It is
good.
very good. Seen some pretty ordinary statues over the years. That's actually not bad.
It's all made
Yeah,
out of
I like it.
137,000 carat gold too.
nice.
course it is.
So yeah, certainly fits the Roosters bill.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Chooks, so the Bunnies have been allowed or are going to be allowed to return to Allianz Stadium. I don't know what your take is, Matty. I like this yarn because once upon a time it was part of being their spiritual home too. They started at Redfern Oval, but they've also spilled a lot of blood in that Moore Park region.
Yeah, I love
what's
it.
your read on it?
I mean, what have they got? 12 home games a year, and they're all at a core stadium or just about at a core stadium. That is way too far away from, geographically speaking, from South Sydney. I mean, the idea of a South Sydney from, I don't know, Redfern or Maroubra or whatever, getting on a bus and a train to get all the way out to a core stadium to root for their team, South Sydney, in the middle of Homebush, it just doesn't make sense. So I love it. I think they should play all their home games at Allianz Stadium, or they could do up Redfern Oval, I guess.
Well, don't worry. There's a few of them in the club in
really?
and around that would love to.
Yeah.
They'd love to be able to do that.
It's a great oval as well. You often talk about Leichhardt Oval and Brookvale, but Redfern's a classic.
Awesome facility,
Yeah.
brilliant. And they trained there for a long time. Then they got the state government, typical. It's all the gravy train and wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and who you know. Then they lobbied the state government hard enough that, I don't know, how many million it cost to build that facility at Heffron Park. But now they've got this incredible thing, which is also a cool touch because it's in their heartland. I love what you said about South fans having to go all the way out to bloody Sydney Olympic Park, right? The people who are like the spin doctors for Homebush and Sydney Olympic Park will always tell you that, oh no, South's geographically, and even some South Sydney people will tell you, oh no, geographically we've got fans all over the place. It's actually even closer for a lot of our fan base. They're all based out there, and they're like, well, the South's fans I know all predominantly live around the eastern suburbs,
Go
right?
figure,
and
yeah.
around the traditional South Sydney heartlands of Matraville, Maroubra, Botany, those sort of places, Lapa, Little Bay. There's even a few in Little Bay. So I don't buy that bullshit.
And also, it's going to bring a nice little buzz for the area as well. the little bars and whatnot around Allianz Stadium. It's not necessarily confined to just Roosters fans now. It's South fans that are going to inhabit the area, and nice little boost for the inner city, I guess, economy.
I reckon that's what makes it so cool going to games at Allianz is there's so many restaurants, there's so many great bars, there's so much activity around it as a venue that you can't have a bad day or night, whatever you're doing.
Whereas if you're out at Homebush, you've got the locker room. Not a bad joint.
I don't want to shit on the locker room because that's a
not a bad
Lawney
joint,
Hotels venue, and I'm a big fan of the
I can't think of any other places out there. That's why I said
there's
it.
not.
Yeah.
There's bugger all. Oh, you can go to Ridges or the Novotel, but you drink.
Get a broom.
It's like drinking it. Yeah, it's like drinking at an airport lounge.
And what I'm saying is, at 10 o'clock when the game finishes at night, you're not inclined to really stick around and have a beer. Everyone just wants to get home.
100%.
Whereas at Allianz here, if you're a lot closer to home, you kind of go, oh, we can go for a couple more or a little bit of dessert maybe.
Yeah, I like it where everybody
What's
likes
your dessert choice?
I knew you were going to go there.
Dessert choice. I like a Viennetta.
Oh,
restaurants
nice.
don't really
they're
do
good, the
Viennetta, do they?
Viennettas. That was very good, the Viennettas back in the day.
I do have a question. Are they going to – so the home of the Roosters, is that going to be and the South Sydney Rabbitohs? Because I would love to see that, to be honest.
I don't know if the home of the Roosters is actually still there at the moment. I've got a feeling because there was that big shit fight about the Roosters calling South the visitors in that recent game the other weekend, right? So I don't know if that's if they're rock and rolling with they're going to allow the home of the Sydney Roosters still to be stamped there or not.
The only thing I can think is it is the home of the Roosters in the sense of that's where they that's where they train and that's where they prepare. So that's kind of my argument for that. If they want to keep it, fine. That's where they play and they prepare, but it's not going to be the home of the Roosters moving forward.
You'll upset the Tricolours a lot if you say that that's not their home because they maintain, and it's a strong argument, they've always played there. They have always played at that venue, right? Whereas Souths played there, then needed folding because the paint was falling off the walls at Redfern Leagues Club and at Souths Leagues. And so they had to sell their soul, move out to Homebush for the money. That helped get the club back afloat until Russell Crowe and James Packer and the electric car bloke with the ponytail that runs at Lassian come in at the moment. And so now they're flying again. Brandon, your read on this?
I like it. I think for a while I was looking at the Rabbitohs and didn't understand the history fully. So I was kind of like, why are the Rabbitohs making such stink about it? But geographically, it makes so much sense. I think the fact that the Roosters are trying to keep them out is a bit salty considering it's like...
Salty's a good word.
Yeah. But... yeah, I'm all for this happening, and I think South fans have been calling this for a long time, and it can only be better for the game. I think the rivalry between these two only gets better and better every storyline that like this happens.
It means they can have that match, that annual match, and they play each other twice a year. It means both those occasions can be at Allianz.
Yes, that's true.
Very good point. Now, speaking of rugby league's oldest rivalry, another cool yarn out of the Bunnies at the moment is AJ Johnston. What a player, Lapper as Panthers junior. He's broken Ken Irvine's record. It stood for 53 years plus, Ken's career. Phenomenal achievement. We all love the scenes, rightfully being celebrated. And now they're going to auction that jumper. Now, I touched on the bloke with the ponytail who's one of South's part owners at the moment. Look, he'd keep 100 large in the ashtray of 6 of his Porsches, right? So surely, I saw in the paper where they were talking about maybe it'll fetch 15, 20, 25,000. Come on. Surely there's a rich South. So what about Albo?
That's unders.
Albo's got plenty, right?
We can use
Let's
ours.
get Albo and the electric car bloke with the ponytail, right? 50 each or 100 each even. That's chump change for them. Chips all in on the table and we come up with some proper folding, right? And then AJ, knowing the sort of bloke he is, I reckon he'll probably donate all the dough to local footy in the area, maybe the Lapa Panthers, maybe South's Juniors.
Well, I'll take
he's that sort of bloke.
Can I take it a step further? You get one of those magnates if you want. Spending,
good word, magnate.
You like that?
Yeah.
100,000, 200, maybe even $500,000 for it. And then I'd like to see them donate it back to the NRL. Does the NRL have an actual museum?
Yes.
Or If
It's
not
cool,
the
NRL. It's at NRL headquarters.
If not the museum, then donate it back to Souths and they can put it into their, into their leagues club, in their foyer, whatever. I just think it belongs to the people.
Yep.
I think that jersey, it's not for a billionaire to just have in their dining room for dinner parties. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with that. That's so perfect. Needs to go in a rugby league museum.
100%. I like
100%.
it. We like it a lot. There you go. You heard it here first on Rugby League Insider. Albo, I know you'll be watching. Mike Cannon-Brooks with the Atlassian Empire. Open the purse strings, get the 100 at least out of the ashtray. Away you go.
Atlassian, are they the ones that just laid off a...
They are. Yeah, I don't really follow all of that, but
No.
I saw the headlines.
AI,
I didn't.
AI problems.
Yeah,
Well, not problems,
they
but
broomed a lot of
solutions.
staff.
Yeah.
They broomed a lot of staff.
So maybe he doesn't have the money anymore. But
Oh no! Well, he's still. Mate, he couldn't possibly spend it all in 6 lifetimes. Good luck to him. He's obviously switched on in some departments. So we'll see how the Bunnies go this season. Now, shifting back to football, Ivan's got the gurney out. He is hosing talk about the Panthers being in career best form already. Title talk. Plenty of experts saying, well, they just look unbeatable after the opening 3 rounds. They've only conceded 2 tries. I like this from Ivan. He makes a fantastic point, and I've seen plenty of good coaches do it over the years. You don't win comps in March.
No.
And it's March, and as good as they look,
yeah.
they got to get through Origin. They got to get through injuries. There's still a hell of a long way. We are 200 metres into the Melbourne Cup. It's a 3,200 metre. Actually, make it the Sydney Cup. It's a 3,200 metre race.
Yeah.
And it's only early doors.
So I like this as well from the coach's perspective. You want to douse your players a little bit. You don't want them to get. And I can't imagine they would anyway. But you don't want them to get big heads ahead of themselves. Thinking every game's going to be a 40-0 win or whatever. The way the Panthers played, if we can just talk about the way they played on Friday, it was scary. It was clinical. It was just a dissection, is how I put it. I really, really wanted the Roosters to win.
Is that a word, dissection?
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, stick it in the dictionary. I wanted the Roosters to win. I really wanted the Roosters to win just to bring
Did
Penrith.
you tip the Chooks on here?
I'm not sure.
Yes, you did.
Just to bring the Panthers back.
Go to the tape.
No, I tipped the Panthers, but I did want the Roosters to win.
That's right. That's right.
I just wanted them to bring them back to the pack so that we're not looking at the Panthers going, oh, well, they're just going to win everything. So, season's over sort of thing. But, yeah, at the moment they're just humming, and I imagine that they've got the Eels this week.
They do, yep. Combank Stadium.
I don't see any change to
home
the way
of the Panthers and the Parramatta Eels at the moment.
Yeah, I don't see a difference in the way they play, and I think they can put a score on an improving Eels side. I'll say that.
They have Storm and the Dogs in the following weeks as well. So
really,
early season.
Penrith?
Yeah, Penrith.
Oh, wow, that's a good read.
Yeah.
That's a good read coming up. I'm with Matty. I think they rinse Para on Saturday night, as much as the Eels have shown some really positive signs. And I like what Jason Rolls is building out there with Nathan Brown alongside him. I think the mood that Penrith's in and the way that juggernaut is humming, they win comfortably. Then I like the litmus test. I think that's where we get a true read against the Storm and against the Dogs, because Serraldo will have Canterbury. Canterbury are jokingly being referred to as the what are they calling them? Penrith Timu, is that what it is?
Oh,
Panthers
yeah.
Timu,
Penrith.
Penrith Light.
Yeah.
Or the Timu of the Panthers.
I've always thought that with the Bulldogs, but this year's different. I feel like this year's different
Really?
from what I've seen from the Bulldogs. Okay. Yeah. Like I think Penrith are the better side, but Bulldogs are the team. Maybe they're more like a eBay version.
eBay version. Hang on, while we're on, I'll tell you what. While we're on that, let's just segue into, mate. I'm loving these threads that you're rocking. Is that a panther on
it's
that
a
shirt?
Sex Panther.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Billy Six's Safari, just in case anyone's wondering who dresses me. Billy Six's Safari. I don't even know if they actually exist anymore. I think they went out of business. I'm not sure. Don't quote
I
me
don't
on
know
that.
why with Fred's like
But,
that, mate. You're flying off the back fence in that thing.
Yeah. Well, single guy, got to look good for the ladies.
Mate, I like it. I like it a lot. It nearly needs to come with, when Penrith are going good at the home stadium and the comes out. I love that. That is very cool. What was the Sex Panther out of? Was that out of
That was
Ron Burgundy?
Anchorman, yeah. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Very good. Very bloody good. Right, we'll try and get this complete car crash back on track. Penrith, are they rorting the 6 again system? They've given away more than any other team. I don't think they are.
No, I don't. If they're playing to the rules, they're getting penalised by the rules, really.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they are, and they're winning. So I keep doing it. If it keeps working, if they're going to play to the rules and it's all above board, go for it.
I think Melbourne with the wrestle to combat the 05 Tigers, they adjusted to how they were interpreting the rules. Also, teams were kicking the ball dead for Billy Slater, so that Billy Slater wouldn't get the first touch of the ball. So great teams find a way around things that are disadvantaging them. So Penrith are just a great team, and they'll always find a loophole for any rule that gets brought into the competition, and they're just one step ahead of every team in the competition in terms of that.
Yeah, to your point, I think it's just an example of good coaching. So they've tweaked the rules over the course of the off-season. All the coaches have had the same amount of time to adjust and try and implement new systems, or if they need to make any adjustments there. And Penrith have just started the year in cracking form. So I don't think you can shoot holes in them for that.
No, exactly. And when they penalise themselves, the worst part of playing rugby league, if there is a worst part, is actually making tackles. And they're penalising themselves to make more tackles. So, what team would want to do that? They do, because there's an advantage in it. So keep doing it. I hate the 6 agains and the amount of them. But if they can play to the rules and it's working.
You know what I like about it, Matty, and I'll disagree with you on that, it's just the fact that it's fucked the wrestle off.
Yeah,
the
that's
wrestle
true.
was killing the game for so long. It had become so robotic. I'm loving the fact that players like Jaden Campbell, Jai Gray, Alfie Langer back in the day, it's bringing speed and the ability for the smaller playmaker in the game to leave more of an imprint on the game.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. I know it's not perfect,
Look,
but I'd rather that than go back to chicken wings and grapples and sumo squats. And
the only thing I don't like about
Kimuras and
the
all
6
that
again,
crap.
the only thing I really don't like is there's no explanation most of the time. And I know, it'll go ding, ruck infringement.
Yeah.
But there's a million things in the ruck that you can be
of
penalised.
course,
So
yeah.
that's my kind of big gripe with it. Otherwise, let me just say, for the most part, I haven't actually noticed it as much this year as I have last year. Let me say that.
I think the thing with that is the best teams still always come out on top regardless. They adjust to it, and no matter how many 6 agains are being done, the best teams are so good to watch because they adjust to it perfectly, whereas the worse off teams, it looks awful when a good team comes up against a bad team because it's so obvious that the momentum, they're just rolling with the momentum. But when you get 2 good teams like the Bulldogs and the Raiders last Thursday, that was a cracker game for a low score.
Awesome game.
I think we'll get more of that as teams start to adjust and more teams. The competition is getting so much tighter that I think that we're going to have a really, really good product in about a year or two's time. Even though I thought it was near perfect last year.
It's a really good product now.
I know.
What are you talking about?
I know, but if they adjust to this, then
You sure that's water over there, or are you slipping a little bit of Sex Panther vodka into that thing or something?
Who knows? Who knows?
No, we're not. Just for the record, we're not at all kids play on H2O only. Now, we love comments. We love your feedback. The phone lines are gone Burko again. Social media is on fire, lighting up with feedback. So we're just going to make our way through some of those. Great show, guys. Loving all the input. Brandon, can we get an update on your Supercoach side, please?
Oh, it's not going very well at the moment. I'm ranked 41,000th out of 150,000. So
Still pretty good.
After 3 weeks, I'm not too concerned. So back to the drawing board.
You're in the top third of the comp. Is that right? If you're 41 out of 151?
Yeah.
It's not good enough, James. It's not good
No,
enough.
it's not good enough. Set high expectations for myself.
What was your highest finish
27th.
out of like 150 or whatever?
In the world.
That's very
in the galaxy.
that is
world.
very impressive in the Star
world,
Wars
yeah.
Battle Galactica
Yes.
hemisphere. That is very, very impressive. Boys, I was watching the show yesterday. Found it very funny when Darcy brought up the celebrity show Wife Swap. I hadn't heard of this show previously. Reality show, I should say. Sorry, I've read that comment wrong. I hadn't heard of this show. I typed it into Google yesterday. I'll tell you what, all sorts of different gravy stuff come up. Don't make that mistake if you're sitting at home alone, kids. But if you were to go down that road of not wife swap but coach swap in the NRL, what sides would you like to see dive into that experiment?
So I would go Robbo out of the Roosters into more of an administrative role for the Roosters. I think he stays within the club and he's an integral part of the Roosters. So he needs to stay within the Roosters. Fitzy in from the Sharks. And then coming into the Sharks, Michael Ennis, who has been touted as one of the next NRL coaches. He won a comp at the Sharks, their first competition. So he's got skin in the game there. And that's what I do.
Can I? You've kind of gone off the rules there a little bit.
I like it. Yeah.
I feel like you're going to do the same.
Good chance.
You just did a straight swap, didn't you?
I just done a straight old swap.
Who you got?
I've gone Anthony Seibold.
Yeah.
For Ivan Cleary. No real reasons actually. I'd just like to see Ivan Cleary with that roster and see how he goes with that. Anthony Seibold with that roster. I think it'd be a nice. I think that would really work. Don't you think that would work?
I think Manly would benefit enormously out of it. I think Ivan still lives. He's got a long history with the Beaches. He played at Manly, played at Norths, Roosters and the Warriors as well.
Seibold looking after Nathan?
Well, if that happened, where's Nathan going? He's
got to
following
stay.
He's still contracted. Does Nathan go to the Beaches too, or Nathan stays at Penrith?
I'm sure the Beaches.
Well, no, he's
like
under
that.
contract. He's under contract. So in fairness, it's only coach swap, wife swap, whatever we're calling it. It's only coach swap. You can't take the best player, even though he is your son, with you as well. Look, I think it'd be enormous for Manly. No doubt Ivan is one of the best coaches in the game. He's certainly showcased that since he's gone back to the Panthers for his second coming. How would Siebes go at Penrith? Well, if he couldn't make it work there, then it's never going to work anywhere because that's the best roster, one of the best rosters in the comp.
My alternative that I was thinking about was maybe Siebes for Peyton. And let's see how long either of them last, respectfully.
Yeah, yikes.
Buys them a bit more time.
That could be all over for both of them by the end of this season. I'm going to go a little bit left field. I'm going to go, and it will never ever happen, but I'm going to say the old gunslinger Wayne to the Chooks, who he did a handshake deal to go and coach all the way back in 2006. Brisbane ended up winning the comp. It blew up. Wayne backflipped and it didn't happen. I know it will never happen in our lifetime because Nick Politis will have written it and shoved it down everybody's throat.
It's on his bust. I think it's on the forehead of his bust.
It's on the back of the bust. I'm going to say Wayne to the Chooks, but I don't want Robbo to go to South. So I want Robbo to go to the Gold Coast, right?
Yep.
Because I'd love to see how Robbo could go. He's always had arguably one of the stronger rosters in the competition. I'd love to see. He's a highly intelligent bloke. I think he could bring a lot to a club like the Gold Coast. And then Josh Hannay can go and cut his teeth under Wayne at the Chooks for a little bit.
Who's looking after South?
And then he can go back. Ben Teo
okay.
to South
There's a massive
with Ben
swap.
Hornby.
Yeah.
With Ben Hornby. Ben Hornby's already there. So we go co-coaches there, and then we go Josh Hannay under Wayne at the Chooks.
Right.
That works so perfectly in NRL world if Wayne didn't have the beef with the Roosters, hey?
The Rooster, that's not so much wife swap. That's like Utah wife swap because there's a million, everyone in Utah's got Mormon wife swap.
All Mormons. They're all Mormons.
Lots of wife swapping there.
Mate, I went to Utah a couple of years ago, actually. It was on one of those, it was on the NRL junket. before they went to Vegas the first time. Awesome trip, so good. We got to go to a couple NFL games. We went to an NBA game in Utah.
The Jazz.
The South's ponytail owner was there in the crowd. Has he also got a little share in the Jazz? Maybe. I think he did, because he took Campbell Graham was part of the touring party. I'm pretty sure he somehow got him into the inner sanctum of the Jazz dressing rooms and everything. But Utah as a town is really different gravy. Have you ever been?
No, I haven't. I've
It's
seen
beautiful.
a lot of documentaries about Mormons and whatnot. They're all, they seemingly lovely people. It seems like an idyllic kind of place.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit storybook and a little bit Hansel
White
and Gretel.
picket fence sort of stuff.
It is.
American
It is
Dream.
Truman Show. The mountains surrounding it, the mountain range surrounding it is absolutely off its head. If you're into your skiing, which I'm not, apparently it's very, very good. But the weird thing I found was I got there and surprise, went looking for the first joint that I could have a quiet beer at. And the bloke wouldn't serve me a beer until I went and got my passport. They've got these really hard and fast rules. I don't know if it's around security. Like, I don't know if it's because of the gun laws and the way that it rolls in the States, but you couldn't get into any licensed premises. They would not serve you a drink unless you had your passport on you and you had physically given it to them, and then they would scan it. And conversely, you had to finish your beer before they would give you another beer.
Really?
You couldn't, so you had to physically finish it, even if you only had that much left.
Yeah.
And you'd say, "Can I get another Bud Light?" Or
Great.
not till you finish.
Got to have
that
the dregs.
So it was a little bit, but you know what? I only spent 36 hours there. Seemed like a pretty cool town. I would definitely go back and love to have another look at it.
I would hate that so much. I'm such a double parker.
Oh, yeah?
I double park all the time, so I don't have to get up and line up.
Mate,
again.
I'm a quadruple parker at
Yeah, we
stages, but we're towing the line at the moment. No more, it's the law. We're doing our best to do the right thing. Brandon, have you ever been overseas to the States?
No, I haven't. So Vegas next year, maybe.
I like this.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
Waz is sending us.
we've planted
Wheels
the
are in
seed.
motion.
And the wheels are in motion. We're getting our people to talk to his people. And
Speaking of that, I just got some breaking news that next Friday we get the keys to the studio. So that should be built.
New studio.
Hopefully, some
new
point.
studio. Oh, so
Yeah.
we're not in the pub anymore.
No.
We're out of Hyde Park House.
Yeah, we
I
will
kind of,
be.
I'm getting used to
Yeah.
this joint. I quite
quite
like
like
it.
it,
The
yeah.
Miami Sports Bar, I reckon that would have been, it's a cooler setup in terms of the backdrop and everything. But I've heard the acoustics, is it? The Fanatics weren't
I
that
mean,
good.
I feel like it'd be similar here. Maybe we can
The
try.
Fanatics?
The Fanatics.
Maybe we can try and convince them to get us there next week.
I think they should build us a bar. That makes sense, right?
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. I'll only be drinking lime and sodas at it. But no, I like that a lot. Or maybe a Bundaberg ginger beer. How good's Bundy ginger beer? Have you ever had that?
I like a not an ad, but Brookvale Union ginger beer.
Oh, yeah.
Have you
Well,
ever had
that's
that?
alcoholic,
That's
isn't
alcoholic,
it? Yeah. I have had that.
4%.
Of course I've had that. No, I like the Bundy stuff.
Okay.
Non-alco.
That's the one you roll.
You
Because it's
roll?
got sediment at the bottom. You're
Yes,
supposed to roll.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, I'll tell you what, you put that with a bit of proper Bundaberg rum and 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Outstanding drink, a dark and stormy for the uninitiated. Now, Wind Up Wednesday, seeing as how we're having a bit of fun, I'll kick us off. Brandon, I'll tell you what really got under my grill on the weekend was Felice Kafusi getting penalised for folding Sam Stone Street. It was completely legal. It was chest contact with upper torso of Felice. He's a victim of his own reputation. Felice is similar to Victor Radley or JWH before he retired. He only has to accidentally tap somebody on the chin and he's nearly sent off or in the bin. I thought this was outrageous, that it was a penalty. How did you see it?
He
mate?
wasn't charged though, was he?
Thankfully, no, because sanity prevailed. But
Right.
still, they got a penalty.
They did.
I think he got put on report.
You could
Again,
see after he'd done it, he was almost yelling at the ref, saying, "I didn't get him high, or it was all chest, or whatever he was saying."
too
So,
much force.
Yeah,
too much
I've hit him
force.
too hard. Sorry, ref. So he was adamant that he'd done nothing wrong, and they ran. I just watched the replay. They actually ran out of time to challenge it. I think
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
I think if it goes beyond 10 seconds, they can't challenge. So
Yep.
absolute G up that it was a penalty.
I'll tell you what it did remind me of. A couple of years ago, Dale Finucane got pinned for a similar incident. I think it was on Stephen Crichton, and he hit him that hard that he actually split his chandelier open, and Crichton had to get stitches. That's why Stephen Crichton wears headgear now. I think prior to that, I don't think Stephen Crichton always wore the headgear, but Finucane was trying to turn the momentum of the game, shot out of a cannon out of the line, and in that instance, it was reckless, and I think Dale got 4 weeks.
Yeah, he did.
But in the Felice instance, I just think he's purely a victim of his reputation, and that's what's happened there. Brandon, I feel like you've got a wind-up Wednesday. Actually, even just before you get to it, I'll tell you another wind-up Wednesday. This is a celebration.
Bonus wind-up.
A bonus wind-up Wednesday. We love a Wednesday. It's hump day. We're pushing through the pain barrier. How good was that Izzy Katoa pass on the weekend for Jermaine Asako? That reminded me of Joey Johns, Alan Langer, Ricky Stewart, Wally Lewis at the absolute peak of their powers. That's not overstating it.
Tim Smith.
That was
Tim Smith.
Tim Smith.
Had a good ball
the
on
para halfback.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Mate,
one.
Look, don't get me wrong, he was a good player. He was a good player, but I haven't got him in that company. I haven't got him in that company.
No, I just remember him throwing massive rocket balls like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking more Joey and Alfie and
fair.
Sticky.
fair.
I'll tell you what, though, phenomenal ball. Love watching that kid play. He is so good. He is the next generation superstar and great for the game.
I barred up. I loved it. It was so cool.
That concerns me. The Sex Panther shirt and now the bar up is starting to concern me a little.
I love him. I you know that I tipped him for Dalian Player of the Year. I don't know where. I don't even think he's on the leaderboard yet. But
he will be after that pass.
Yeah.
He'll be rocketing up.
He probably would have got some points after that game. I'm not sure.
Potentially.
But yeah, he's a superstar.
I've got a bit of a yarn on him. So he played in my brother's rugby league team growing up.
Glenmore Park Brumbies.
Glenmore Park Brumbies. Luke Hansen, who made his debut on the weekend, played in the same side at fullback. He was a very small kid at the time, and like for him to get where he is absolutely crazy. Luron Patea was in that same team as well, who comes off the bench for the Penrith Panthers. So my brother did his ACL and obviously didn't make it, but that's what he blames it on, doing his ACL. But that team was absolutely stacked at the Glenmore Park Brumbies. Isaiah Katoa's dad was the coach as well. So that team, every time I got to watch Isaiah play when he was 15, it was crazy. He reminded me of Sean Johnson back then.
Mate, that's an awesome yarn. Sean Johnson's a good comparison as well. I should have thrown him into that company, Stacey Jones. Those style of playmakers, just with that brilliant vision and that finesse and the courage to throw that ball. Like that ball, it's risky.
That could easily get picked off.
Correct. It's a big play. But to back yourself to be able to do it and then execute it at NRL level. Fun fact about the Glenmore Park Brumbies, geez, they've had some good juniors over the years. He's no longer with Rugby League, but Suwali was playing for Glenmore Park Brumbies. And this South's, what do we call the art dealer? He's like he's not an official. What is he? Let's call him a power
consigliere.
broker. Yeah, consigliere. Yeah, good. I like that. So the art dealer, Steve Nesteski, shout out to Steve, spotted him, right? Because I think his son was playing for one of the South's junior teams. I don't know why they would have been playing against Glenmore Park. Might have been like a round robin where the junior sides play against one another. And he saw Suwali and he went, holy shit. And I mean, the kid was only 11 or something at the time, but he was that good and he stood out that much that they actually poached him out of the Glenmore Park Brumbies and brought him over to the Souths comp, and he finished up playing in the Souths comp. That's how he come through and ended up. They changed the rules for him. They changed the rules so he could debut before his 18th birthday. So there's a little fun fact too. It's a good hunting ground out there. Very good. No wonder it's the biggest junior rugby league nursery in the world. Now I'm hearing unconfirmed reports, Brandon. You've got a wind-up Wednesday as well.
Oh, yeah. We have a little bit of time, I guess. Anthony Basher. I've got a wind-up at Budget Direct. Anthony Basher is the creator of the Random South Sky Instagram account. He's built up 22,000 followers on Instagram because the Random Souths movement started back in 2018 where people just randomly see Random Souths people at events that weren't NRL related. So he pretty much promoted that. He'd upload photos to the Instagram account, grew the Instagram account, and he was pretty much the original Random Souths guy. Budget Direct have come in and trademarked Random Souths guy and used it as a marketing tool. They've hired this actor, which I feel so sorry for this actor. He just does not fit the bill of what they're trying to do. He's got a fake mullet. He tries this fake Aussie bogan accent, and it's just off the mark so much and just off with the fans at the Rabbitohs. And I feel like they haven't read the room at this one.
That's the commercial with, and it's got all the players and even Blake Solly's in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
they've got all the mullets
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I feel like it's just way off the mark.
So he's been basically cast aside. This what was his name?
Random South guy.
Random Souths guy,
The
Anthony
original
Anthony Basher.
The original Random Souths guy has basically been cast aside, and Budget Direct's come in and they've taken basically the IP. If you
Yes, and he actually auditioned for the role as well as Random Souths guy. Didn't hear back from them.
Geez, you're getting some good mail about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
This is the first time
we're going
across
into
any of this.
the realms of casting here.
Yeah. So,
And why wasn't I included
Wife
in
swapping,
that? Yeah.
casting, Fanatic, and we're covered some territory on here.
Well, I sent him a message prior to this just to make sure it was okay to bring it
Yeah.
up and just get his side of the story. And yeah, I guess that's his side of the story.
Yeah, right.
And the way
So he actually, this is cool. So
Yeah.
he auditioned.
Yeah.
He is the Random Souths guy. The Random Souths guy got to audition for the role, but then a Bunnies are paying, or Budget Direct, whoever it is, it's all getting a bit Confucius, are paying an actor
Yes.
to have a fake mullet and pretend they're half pie knockabout
Yes.
to
Yeah.
go on there.
Yes, but the club is not. It's not the club's decision. It's Budget Direct's decision, and it's a deliverable for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So,
And Budget Direct's a sponsor of the Bunnies.
yeah. So, but it's all Budget
Okay.
Direct's doing, and like no sting on the Rabbitohs whatsoever. And I'm glad I cleared that up because I probably would have been angry at the Rabbitohs for making this decision prior to knowing all the details of it. So, yeah, that's my wind up for Wednesday.
I think that Budget Direct could have at least had the original Random Souths guy in the commercial.
Yes,
Not necessarily as the Random Souths guy, but just a cameo, something,
Yes.
some sort of
I
nod
like
to
it.
him would have been
I like
nice.
it. I like it a lot. I'll tell you what else I like out of that commercial. Blake Solly with the mullet. So he's got the business at the front and then the party going at the back. He normally goes for the very corporate. There's no Dave Donaghy about Blake. He's always got the buttons done all the way up to the top and the tie looking immaculate. He actually looks a little bit like David Littleproud, the old National Party leader. They might have been separated at birth, those two, never seen in the same room. But I thought Blake looked terrific with the mullet out the
when
back.
I first saw it, I thought that was the shot was the actor again, but it's actually Blake Solly because they kind of look, the actor and Blake Solly kind of look alike as well. So maybe Blake Solly's got
That's a shock
career.
and slide on.
Maybe he's got a career in acting. Blake
He
Solly.
could. I tell you what, he's a very sharp operator,
He
Blake.
is, yeah.
He's had a lot of success in his time at the
Yeah, he
Bunnies.
goes
He'd
good.
like another premiership.
Yeah.
That's why he's brought Wayne Bennett back to the club.
And Payne Haas.
And I'm tipping, yes, well, where do we see Souths while we're talking about Souths? Have
Right
you
now?
got Souths, in terms of the bigger picture for the season, do you see Souths, can they be a force in the finals? Are they a heavyweight?
Yeah, I actually do. I've got them entrenched in my 8. They had a pretty underwhelming performance against the Tigers, but they still won.
Yes.
I thought their defense was pretty good. Who have they got this week? South.
Bye.
There's a win.
Yep.
I do see them as a heavyweight, and they've got plenty of star power. Jack Whiten, he has been outstanding for them on a side that generally doesn't get a lot of ball compared to the other side.
Yep.
He's taken every opportunity.
I see them making the 8, but I don't think they fire a shot in the finals. I think on the weekend, they were just way too gassed, way too early. And the way the Six Agains are rolling on, these top 4 sides in Melbourne, Penrith, Dogs, and the Warriors, they're just built on fitness. And even the Broncos, how fit they were last year, I don't think they can last 80 minutes of the game. I think that they're the type of players team that rely on the big moments, Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell. And I just think that's going to take a bit of adjusting to get to this year. And they'll be looking, hopefully in the off-season readjusting to strike next year.
I think while ever they got the old gunslinger pulling the reins in the coach's box, and Cameron Murray's on the field, Latrell's on the field, Cody's on the field, and I'm loving Jai Gray. I also love the fact that you brought up Jack Whyton because he was the second best player on the field. I thought Jai Gray was their best last Saturday night against the Tigers. Jack was only a shandy behind him, really dominant. He gave poor old the Tigers debutant or the Tigers rookie, Macassini. He took him to school a couple of times just with brutal, big left hand with shades of big Mal Meninga back in the day. Jack unlucky not to make the conversation for our top 5 centres last week, which incidentally will be bringing back our top 5, where are we going? Fullbacks. Award-winning segments only on Rugby League Insider.
When are we going to do it? Friday?
Let's do it Friday. Let's do it Friday because the Sex Panther needs to be involved.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, boys, we've had a lot of fun today. We've covered some territory, wife swapping, the Sex Panther, coach swapping. Busts. Yep. The Red Hill rumblings. It's all happening on Rugby League Insider. As usual, we've talked underwater with a mouthful of marbles. We'll be back again to do it all again tomorrow because that's how much we love the greatest game of all. Cheers. We'll see you again then.